Washington would like for Shane Lather from AAG Architects to come up and provide an update on some of the projects that he is working with for our district.
Dr. Washington had asked me to give an update on some projects that we're currently working on as the architectural firm for the school district. And I'll begin with Orangeburg-Wilkinson High School. There's a couple of projects that are going to be taking place there. You have the full HVAC replacement of the facility. That work is ongoing at this time. Hopefully the design will be done within the next couple of months and it can go to the OSF, the Office of School Facilities, for review and approval. We should be able to start working in that area pretty quickly. Another portion of that interior of the existing facility is the elevator replacement. For some reason, that project has kind of gotten kicked to the side by the state office. We're trying to continuously push it through so that we can get that project ongoing as fast as possible. The athletic projects, the football stadium, the schematic designs for that project is completed. We need to do some follow-up meetings with the district and the athletic departments over the next couple of weeks so that we can complete the design and get it to the Office of School Facilities for final review and approval. Next, I'll go to Robert.
Yes, sir.
I have one question, please.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
No,
You talked about re-roofing at Orangeburg-Wilkinson. That's the entire building, or you?
no, sir.
The gym, because, or what? Where is that located?
I believe it is the gym.
Okay. Yeah, I know because we had a leakage problem.
Yes, sir.
That's what I was
I've
concerned.
got so many. There's 4 different roofing projects, and one of them is a complete school. And I'll get to that one, but OW is the gym.
It's the gym. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
One other question, Mr. Lather.
Yes, sir.
The seating at the theater, or the auditorium, as we call it, have there been a design on the style of seating?
Not yet. Right now, we've given it to the theater. I don't want to call them theater consultants because there are theater consultants. We're not really using that in this respect. I've contacted a gentleman that does reps for 3 or 4 different seating manufacturers that has done a few projects for me in the last few years, and he's kind of coming down here, looking at what's actually there so that he can make some recommendations to us, and at that point we'll take that to Dr. Washington and the principal of OW and have that conversation with them just so everybody has an input of what type of seat, colors, all that kind of stuff. Typically, it's hard to increase the seating capacity of one once it's built in occupancy levels. And the reason that is because you base your occupancy based on square footage and your exit capabilities. So like if you try to increase your occupancy level, it typically doesn't happen only because you can't increase exit capacities and you're not increasing square footage.
I was more concerned about decreasing. So if
Decreasing.
Yeah, if you think that we will continue with the same number of seats.
My understanding is that everybody wanted a 1-for-1 swap.
Okay.
Now, if that's different, then that's obviously something we can discuss. We also have to look at it in respects to the State Office of School Facilities, and we've got to look at it in the requirements of handicapped accessible seating as well. So you might, depending on what your configuration accounts for right now when the building was originally built, we might lose some seats to accommodate for handicap accessible. But typically if I remember correctly, this building is not that old, so you had some handicap accessible requirements at that point in time. Might be increased by 1 or 2 seats, which means you might lose 2 or 3, but I don't see a mass number of decreasing seats. Robert E. Howard Middle School, that project is a re-roofing project. The design work is ongoing right at this point and hopefully should be done within the next 30-45 days. The engineer estimates about a 75-day timeline there as well. William J. Clark Middle School, which is also a roofing redo. That one is a complete redo of that facility, re-roof of that facility. That one is about a 120-day timeline for the actual installation, and the project is, as with the others, are in design phase right now. We were asked to look at, and I never say this name right. When I talked to Mr. Redmond about it, I didn't get it right either. Bethune-Bowman?
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Got it, all right. So we were asked to look at a report that was actually done by a previous roofing consultant to the district, and we've provided that report to the consultant that we used to do Howard, OW, and Clark, and I'm waiting on them to give me some comments back. I'm hoping, I've been led to believe by them that they'll be able to use that report without having to come out and do one of their own, because the report's not that old. So I should have some more information on that with an estimated timeline within the next week or so. Brookdale Elementary, the gymnasium, we were asked to provide heating and air to the gymnasium. Those design documents are completed and are being finalized with coordination so that they can go to the State Office of School Facilities for review and approval. Hopefully that review and approval will take no more than 30 days and we can get started on putting heating and air in that building. Same thing with Dover Elementary School. It's the same project, heating and air into the existing gymnasium. That project design is completed, and the documents are hopefully going to go to the State Office of School Facilities for review and approval. That completes the projects that we're currently working on at this time. If you have any questions, I'll be glad
Yes,
to
Mr. Page.
On the door, you didn't see anything about roofing on the gym. It's been leaking for a long time.
We are not doing Dover.
You're not.
No, sir.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that actually is not a gym roof leak. That is, it leaks around those vents and louvers they put in when they try to provide some renovation. And that is one of the things that I asked Mr. Lathir as part of that heating and air project, to take those out and seal those openings back with bricks so that problem goes away. It's primarily on the louvered end of that down next to the school facility itself. The other end, thank goodness, has not been leaking. So, but that is where that's coming from. It blows in those louvers when we get those rains coming out of that direction.
If it's on the far end down where the actual ventilation louvers are, we are closing. Yes, sir. Where the wood floor is deteriorating. Yes, sir. Where that is, as Mr. Redmond said, those ventilation louvers to cross air the gym have been, when the driving rain comes from that side, it allows it to come through the louvers and down the wall. We are closing those up. Matter of fact, they will be used as openings for the duct. So the duct, as it comes up the wall and through into the gymnasium, will go through those openings and then be sealed. So you should not have that problem.
There have been some concern, Mr. Lather and Mr. Redmond, about the floor there at Dover, trying to keep the floor. If you do any replacing or repairing, they would like, they being the staff and as well as teachers, would like that floor to remain because it's a nice floor.
In the gymnasium?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So what we'll do is the floor will be protected as we do the HVAC system. The majority of the HVAC system will be outside the building, and the ducts will come up and through the building. So we really won't be on top of it that much. I talked last time we were out there, and we looked at what are the possibilities and how we can repair the few areas that the water damage has occurred. And that, we can come up with a plan to do that. Now, that portion of that floor where that damage has occurred, you'll never be able to replicate that floor exactly. So you might see some difference in maybe width of the wood, but at least the floor would be replaced and no longer deteriorating.
Any other questions for Mr. Lather? Well, we thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Finance and Operations, Ms. Deidre Felder. Ms. Felder is in for Mr. Boland. Mr. Boland is with his wife who is ill. We ask you to remember Mr. Boland and his wife as well. Ms. Felder.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Mr. Board Chair, members of the board. I'm going to do the monthly status report on page 1. The local tax revenues, $461,243. 25 meal tax revenues, $25,524. The interest income, $16,320. On page 2, the EFA revenue, $1,323,641. For the total general fund revenues for the month of November were $3,212,170. The expenditures for the month, we spent $5,918,313.
Thank you, but where did you say the interest revenue was showing?
I'm sorry. On your report, it has 0.
Okay,
But
because I was going to say, like,
we did receive it in December.
Okay, thank you.
And that 16,000 is typical?
I'm not sure.
But is that 16,000 included in the total you just gave?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Felton.
Instructional service update, Dr. Cynthia Cash Green, and in her absence, Dr. Nash.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Mr. Stevens, Board Chair, members of the board. On behalf of the Office of Instructional Services, I will be reporting for Dr. Cash Green, Orangeburg Wilkinson, and the designation of a targeted support and improvement school because of the subgroup for students with disabilities. So that's why I will be providing the update. Special education is not a place, rather a continuum of services that is provided to our students. I'm going to proceed with the district's SPED demographics. In the year 2015-2016, we had 869 students SPED services. During the year 2016-2017, we had 866 students. In 2017-2018, we had 809 students. And as of 2018-2019 school year, we have 792 students that we serve district-wide. I will review special education demographics for Orangeburg Wilkinson. We have a total of 1,162 students enrolled at Orangeburg Wilkinson High School. And of that 1,162 students, we currently have 146 students that we serve with disabilities, and this number has increased since the 2017-2018 school year. When I spoke with one of my admin assistants who's responsible for documenting students who register and enter the district, since we've been back from the Christmas holiday break, we've had 15 students to enroll coming in from other districts. So this number will increase. EOC data for Orangeburg Wilkinson. By mere virtue of the fact that our students with disabilities have challenging conditions, they require more support and, of course, more services to help them gain access to the general curriculum.
Can we back up
Sure.
one, Dr. Nash?
Yes.
You mentioned of students coming in since we came back from the Has it been typical that we accept students throughout the school year?
Yes, sir.
Academic year?
Yes, sir, because if they move into the district, by law, we're obligated to serve them. And these are children who have demonstrated proof of residence, and so they are part of the community in which we serve our students, so we have to serve them.
So we do also accept students out of district.
Yes.
Now, how do that work as far as providing services? Everything is basically budgeted, what I'm trying to get at. So how do we capture, making sure that we'd have the necessary funds to provide for those individuals, or those students that come in later during the school term?
Well, by law, we have to serve the students, okay?
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay, and so whatever funds that we do have, if we run out of funds, then the general fund is expected to provide. Because what the State Department gives us for special education under IDEA, that's considered supplemental.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Where did these students come from?
Florence, we have some coming from up north. We have some coming from the neighboring Orangeburg districts. And even though we're getting students, some of our students have left the district as well and are going to other districts. And so these, like I said, these are students who have moved into the area, who have demonstrated proof of residence, and so we have to serve them, but this is a little bit different than students who are requesting to be served by the district, okay, just because they want their child here. And then, of course, I think there's a cap for that.
Why would students from another district, I'm assuming you said Orangeburg County, you saying?
Yes.
Why would these students come to Orangeburg this time?
They've moved here, their parents
They
have
moved?
Yes, their parents have moved, purchased a house, or set up some type of legal residence here in this area. And before they are registered, they have to go through their schools, and the SIS operators at the schools, they double check and make sure that they are residents in the area before we even place them or serve them.
Mr. Chairman, Dr. Dash,
Yes.
in reference to these 15 students, the IEPs, or that the IEPs are reviewed, even though we have to accept them, or the IEPs reviewed during their acceptance?
Yes, we review the IEPs, and the law indicates that once we accept or receive students, we bring them in on what is called a transfer IEP, and the transfer IEP is based on the IEP that they previously had, because we have no knowledge of the child. So we have a period within 7 days to place the child.
I'm still trying to connect the two. Wanted to make sure that financially, we are not depriving a child of a fair opportunity. So where's the disconnect that would propel us into how we are classified by the State Department? We did any deep dive into exactly what is going on or what has happened?
The EOC, which stands for the end of course data. Okay, Dr. McMichael, our data guru for the district, prepared this EOC data. And the data goes back as far as 2014 until 2018. So in the area of Algebra 1, 2014, if we look at all students had 74.6% passing. Our disabled population had 50% passing, 60.6% passing all students, and the students that are in the disabled population, 33.3. 2016, all students, 50.6. Disabled population, 34.6. 2017, 38.8 all students. Disabled population, 10%. 2018, 32.6% all students. And our students that are disabled, 5.6. Okay, that was for the area of Algebra 1. And then, of course, we have biology noted here, as well as English 1 and U.S. history. About 3 years ago, the State Department of Education mandated that all children take EOC, regardless of whether or not they are disabled, okay? Whether they're in self-contained classes, they still had to take the end of course examination, even though they were in a self-contained class. So this required the district to look at ways in terms of making sure that these students had access to the content, because if they're in a self-contained class, then that means the special ed teacher provides the content. Now, if they're expected to take courses and take a test in Algebra 1, Biology, English 1, or U.S. History, that meant that they had to get content by a certified teacher. So these students that are in a self-contained class were mainstreamed in the 4 content area classes with the special education teacher, so that they could have access to that content, so that they could have some level of success in passing these courses, even though they still present with their challenges related to their disability. 2016, 2017, and 2018, those are the years that the self-contained classes participated, and those scores would be included in this. Previously, it was just the students that are in a resource class, which is considered gen ed as well as sped, because they're still gen ed students, but they're pulled out for their resource with the special ed teacher, okay? So now, 2016, you have self-contained students, okay, taking end of course. And the year that the State Department made the mandate, we just had to go ahead and put the children in the classes and then still allow them to test.
When the State Department made it mandatory for our students to be tested in these critical areas, did we get a heads up from the State Department that it was going to be done?
No, we didn't receive a heads up. Every child, and then the only children that would be exempt are those students who qualify for alternative assessment. And then we have to keep in mind that with the alternative assessment, the district is only allotted 1% of the population who can be on an alternative testing track. And right now, our percentage is at 1.04.
And I found this out, I did a tour of a number of schools today, and I was concerned about testing, and of course testing, and Mr. Navnet, name was referenced. You can actually go into the system and you can review how many minutes a child actually spent on testing. And then I was told about A, B, C, D, E, F, the alphabets as they go down. At certain points during the school year, a child should be at, for example, if you go from first grade to second grade, you should be testing somewhere around C and D or something like that, preparing you for E and F years. But to be able to go into the system and to see that a child spent only 10 minutes on an exam tells me that we need to have some type of intervention. And I think some intervention is occurring. But are we really using that data? I didn't realize we had such capability to use that data to track and to help assist these children. Because the percentage that I was looking at today, it was alarming that the projection is that 70% of those kids would not make it to the next grade or will not be prepared for the next grade.
Well, in Orangeburg 5, we do use data to inform our instructional practices and the needs of the students.
In every school, I think the data that you're referencing is the MAP data?
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
MAP.
Okay. And as a part of the MAP report, it tells you how long the student took to take a test. And in that way, a teacher can say, okay, and it shows it throughout the testing window. So if you have a kid who only took, say, a couple minutes on the test, sometimes my benchmark coordinators will call me and say, hey, we know that kid was playing or whatever. Can we do a retest? Or we use that data to say, okay, like for example, Whitaker Elementary, they analyzed their data according to how long kids took. Then they instituted an incentive and said, okay, when you take the MAP assessment, you should not take less than this amount of time to complete the assessment. And the reason we do that is so when they take the state assessment, they're not rushing through the test, so that they're taking their time. We just finished MAP testing at the end of December. We'll do it again in April. And we tell our teachers and our students that MAP testing is practice for state testing and national testing. So yes, we use that data. I go over it with data coaches. All of our data coaches in the district know how to access it. You were talking with Ms. Navnet. She's the data coach for NOR.
I'm going to move to this slide as it relates to barriers to increased student outcomes. We've had teacher shortages in the areas of SPED. We've had increased class sizes. We've had a decrease in funding, as well as a decrease in SPED departmental staff. Class size reduction. We work to minimize our class sizes for our students with disabilities, where this would give more one-on-one with the teacher and the student, one-on-one instruction. We've revised the instructional learning model to include the inclusion model. This is where the SPED teacher classes to assist and instruct and support our students with disabilities while they gain access to core content instruction in ELA, algebra, biology, and history. We've increased class support to SPED teachers. We've reviewed learning expectations. We help, and by the we, I'm saying the Office of Special Education. We've helped with lesson planning. We've helped with curriculum materials in terms of purchasing them and providing professional learning opportunities so that they can know how to utilize these materials with our students. And we've modeled the delivery of instructional content so that the teachers are able to emulate how to teach their students.
Dr. Dash,
Yes?
in reference to the barriers, there's teacher shortage of certified SPED teachers. How many teachers are we in need of at this point?
For resource, ideally, the State Department says 33 students per teacher, but we know that that doesn't adequately allow enough time for the teacher to provide training. So Orangeburg-Wilkinson now has 78 students with resource. So that means we have 3 teachers.
Dr. Nash, in reference to the school draft plan of action for next year, consolidation takes effect July 1, 2019. So what kind of plan will be put in place that, okay, the plan, you're working on a plan at this time for next year, how would that play in reference to consolidation?
That's a typo. That I meant to say this year.
Okay.
Because a part of the targeted support, we have to draft a plan and then submit that.
This board has gone to DC on the Hill to lobby for the passage of ESSA. Understanding the requirement that is set down to the state of South Carolina as far as the requirements, standards are concerned, there appears to be a disconnect from federal to state. Are we seeing that as it relates to the population and what should be actually funded and how to be funded? We need to executive session for discussion of such.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss personnel recommendations and personnel matters. Second.
We will properly second that we go into executive session for discussion of personnel recommendations and personnel matters. Are there questions? All in favor of such motion, please raise your right hand. Opposed is the same. Thank you.